confidential information that was released.
Okay.
They did it the same way that you did it, Council.
Well, you have the last question, Mayor Harrington. You may make that your last question. This will be the last question in this segment of the debate. Mayor Harrington to Councilor Balzotti.
During the recent budget deliberations, when we were forced to cut the funding for libraries, you first criticized me and said that you wouldn't vote for the budget if the money for the branch libraries were cut. Then you changed your mind and voted for the budget. Once the cuts were made, I went out and secured the money to open homework centers, and I placed those centers on our branch libraries to get them open again. Even though you did nothing to help the branch libraries stay open as a city councilor, what specifically will you do as the mayor to ensure they remain open in the future?
Jim, what I will do as mayor to make sure that they remain open in the future is I would work with the Library Board of Trustees, the chairman, to find a creative and collaborative solution to do so. And in fact, he came in before the city council and provided a plan. And the city council, in fact, found money and asked you to consider reappropriating that money in order to keep those libraries open all summer. We cannot appropriate money. You chose not to do that, so the libraries were closed all summer. And yes, you have homework centers, and the libraries will be open, and the libraries will be open for people to check in and check out books and utilize computers, but there won't be any new periodicals or new publications. There won't be story times. So yes, they will be open, and that is a good thing. There's no doubt about that, that they will be open, and that people will be able to at least do that. But the fact of the matter is that they could have been open all summer.
Councilor, that's absolutely correct. That's absolutely, they could have been open all summer. They didn't need to be open, but they could have been. And the reason they weren't open is because we had to make budget cuts. That's the only reason that they closed.
Please. Yeah, thank
The
you.
only reason they closed was because we had to make the budget cuts. You keep saying you cut the money from the budget, which you didn't. And secondly, you keep saying that the money was there to do it when you didn't know the money was there to do it, because none of us knew until long after we decided to close them. And now we've made a proposal to the union to bring those library workers back, because now we know the money's there. We have the grant. It's been established. We sat down. We negotiated with the union. They're going to ratify it sometime soon, and then they'll be open. But you can't say you're going to do everything. There's some place you got to make the cuts. Some place you got to make the tough decision.
It's not about making,
It is about making tough decisions.
it's about
Counselor.
making the best decisions, Jim. And as someone who's been advocating all evening for programs for young people, to say that libraries not being open during the summer wasn't important is not true, because there are young people on the streets that needed a place to go, and they could go to the libraries and read books, or do their summer reading, or do what the school department sends out for their reading list. So to say that libraries not being open during the summer is not important is just not true.
Well, it's not true. You're right, but it's not important. They're not as important as some of the other things that we had to do, like put police officers on the street, like keep the firefighters working, like keep all the teachers, like supplying the transportation to get the kids to school, like paying for all the bills.
Last word on this topic, Councilor Balzotti.
Jim, the fact of the matter is, the libraries could have been open. You chose not to keep them open during the summer.
You gave us no plan that would have kept them open during the summer. All you did was make a nice speech.
Please. All set. Okay, thank you. That concludes this portion of the debate. Please, especially during closing statements, try to keep the comments and the noises out entirely. Thank you. A reminder before we go to the closing statements, the coverage for this debate will be shown repeatedly, the show itself on local cable TV, on enterprisenews.com, and I'm saying this now because these debates come to a quick and furious ending after the closing statements. This will be rebroadcast repeatedly on local cable TV, WXBR 1460 tomorrow, and we'll have highlights tonight and tomorrow morning, video highlights as well on enterprisenews.com, so you have ample opportunity to hear yourselves make noises again. Thank you. By coin toss, we have determined the order of closing statement, and the first to go is Councilor Balzotti. 2 minutes, please. Thank you.
Our city is lacking a vision, Brockton is lacking a plan, and Brockton is a leader who will put the residents and the business of our city first. In these difficult times, we can't afford more of the same. We can't afford any more of my opponents' my way or the highway approach to city governance. Brockton can't afford to have a chief executive making decisions without input from city residents. We can't afford more of the administration's lack of accountability, and we can't afford any more of its failures. Allowing the Brockton 21st Century Corporation to operate without oversight. under a veil of secrecy and now with a federal investigation report, failing to plan a Memorial Day parade, taking a significant pay raise during difficult economic times, and refusing to cast the tie vote to select the CEO of the largest department with the largest budget in the city, and banking the future of our city on an 11-year-old plan. It's clear Brockton is a city in need of desperate change. My name is Linda Balzotti, and I'm running for mayor of the city of Brockton, and I'll bring the change and experience to instill a new vision, a collective vision for our great city, a vision that will get Brockton moving again. As a lifelong Brocktonian, a proud product of Brockton schools, a community leader, and someone who knows the neighborhoods of our city, I have the experience that uniquely prepares me to become the next mayor of Brockton. I've been a city councilor doing the city's business for the past 12 years, and I've been tested. I've successfully built coalitions, I've made difficult decisions needed to restore confidence, and I bring credibility back to the mayor's office, and I have the skills to get things done. I am known as a strong advocate for common sense budgeting and spending, and I'll continue to make the difficult decisions needed to address our fiscal challenges. But I also understand that the mission of government is more than meeting the bottom line, and I'll work hard to protect the core services that are important to people of Brockton, especially funding for police, fire, and education. November 3rd is our opportunity to bring a new style of leadership to City Hall, a leadership that is inclusive, responsive, and accountable. This is our opportunity to put people first. I'm Linda Balzotti. I have a vision for Brockton, I have a plan for Brockton, and I ask for your vote on November 3rd so that we can work together to make the City of Champions truly a city we can all be proud to call home.
Thank you. Thank you, and great job keeping nice and quiet. I ask you to show the same courtesy to Mayor Harrington during his closing remarks. Mr. Harrington.
Thank you, Steve. Take the responsibility that comes with serving as your mayor very seriously. Anyone can make a speech and tell you what they're for, but as a mayor, you actually have to do something. Being a mayor means making tough decisions that are necessary, even those that are unpopular at the time. I have been willing to make those decisions, and I believe Brockton is better because of it. I have worked with our employees, other agencies, and groups to find creative solutions to the challenges that we face. The results speak for themselves. While other communities were closing schools, Brockton was building new ones. While other communities were closing their pools, we were expanding ours. While other communities were laying off firefighters and police officers, Brockton is keeping on the job, keeping our families safe. Given these unprecedented difficult times, I think we can all be proud of what we have achieved. But there's a big difference between my opponent and I. As mayor, I made the tough decisions to cut $25 million from the budget. My opponent didn't cut a single dime. I worked with our employees and then went out and found money that we needed to keep the police and firefighters on the job, protecting our families. My opponent chose to sit on the sidelines and do nothing. And when we were faced with the closing of the libraries, I went out and secured a grant to open the homework centers and put those centers in the branch libraries and keep them open. My opponent didn't offer a single solution to help. The next mayor will face some very difficult decisions. I believe that I've proven to you that I am willing to do whatever is necessary to help our community. Working together, I am confident that we can make Brockton a community we can continue to be proud of. I ask for a vote on Election Day, November 3rd. Thank you, and God bless you.
And that concludes our debate. A quick reminder, the next debate is sponsored by BAMSI and Massasoit College back here on the 22nd. And Enterprise and Massasoit have another debate on the Dakota Day, furiously, don't I? And 22nd is the next debate here, sponsored by Massasoit and BAMSI. And the 28th, Enterprise and Massasoit have a second debate as well. Thank you, Mr. Harrington, Councilor Balzotti. Be sure to vote November 3rd. Thank you, everybody.